it's going to be a breeze for City, and I wouldn't want to be in their way when they're trying to bounce back from a defeat like that.
I don't think Man City will want to come up against him again, certainly their defenders will, because he just runs all day as well.
Hugo Lloris, how many mistakes has he made this season?
I think the fullbacks are better than Man City. I'll just say two words to you: Kyle Walker.
Well, the game of the weekend in the Premier League, no doubt about it. Saturday lunchtime, Manchester City against Tottenham. It's take two after that amazing Champions League clash between the pair of them on Wednesday night. It's very strange how the fixture list works out like this. They're playing each other again. Bobbie believes that Manchester City will bounce back. Simon thinks it could be another Tottenham success. Bobbie, it's a lot to take for City, having had that real blow of going out of Europe in midweek to just a few days later having to play the same opponents again. Can they bounce back?
Of course they can. Pep Guardiola, if he wants, could make 11 changes and they would still be better than Tottenham. I think you have to remember, yes, they lost the tie overall, but they won at the Etihad Stadium. City don't lose on home soil, very rarely. They've won 17 of their last 18 in the Premier League. Tottenham have lost 4 in a row on the road in the Premier League. It's going to be a breeze for City, and I wouldn't want to be in their way when they're trying to bounce back from a defeat like that.
But Tottenham, Simon, will be on cloud nine. I mean, I know they've got injuries and fitness issues, which will be a bit of a worry for Mauricio Pochettino, but they must be on a high now.
Yeah, they've overcome those injuries and fitness issues to a certain extent, and they've shown they can do it by coming through the tie against Manchester City. Spurs have scored more away goals in the Premier League this season than any other team. They've got just as many away wins as Liverpool and Tottenham at the top of the table. Away from home, Spurs, I think, just as strong as they are at home. So I'd fancy Spurs to go well in this game.
Well, I have to say it's very tight to call, but just because of Manchester City's home record and Spurs haven't been great on the road of late, I'm just going to give the point to Bobbie and to Manchester City. We're going to turn our attentions, though, now to the two key players for both sides. And, of course, Son Heung-min is in absolutely immaculate form for Tottenham at the moment. 2 goals in midweek. Same could be said for Raheem Sterling, Bobbie, who you have to say is probably in the best form of his career.
He's loving this season, isn't he? 23 goals across all competitions. He scored 5 goals in his last 4 against Tottenham. Should have had a hat-trick in midweek. VAR came to Tottenham's saviour, of course, wrongly, in my opinion. But we don't have VAR in the Premier League, so I'd fancy him maybe to get a hat-trick this time around. He's thriving under Pep Guardiola. He's become this player that he's supporting both England and Manchester City, and I think Tottenham are going to struggle to deal with his pace again.
What about Son then, Simon? 2 goals, they say, in midweek. No Harry Kane, of course, for Tottenham at the moment, but he stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, and he seems to play really well in the role that has been designed for him without Harry Kane in the side. He takes more responsibility on, he probably gets more touches of the ball. They look for him a lot sooner in the attack as well. We saw on Wednesday night his finishing is exemplary. Took advantage of a couple of defensive errors there, but put the chances away very well. And I don't think Man City will want to come up against him again, certainly their defenders will, because he just runs all day as well. He certainly puts more work in than Harry Kane does, and I think Spurs will benefit from that again away from home on Saturday.
Well, I have to say it is another tight call, but I'm going to go here with Tottenham. I edge it with Son because I do think he has been inspirational of late. As good as Sterling has been, I think Son just edges this one. 1 point each then. Going into the final round, which is the defences. They have looked both leaky in recent times, having looked very solid earlier in the campaign. Bobbie, there was mistakes galore for City in midweek. They've got 4 centre-backs to choose from and they keep chopping and changing.
Yeah, that can be a bit problematic at times, but I think going into this game, City are going to control it much more. You look at the game against Tottenham in midweek, there was more desperation about it. It had to be decided on the night. This one, I think City will go into it playing their usual game, a little bit more patient and higher up the pitch, so there won't be as much issue with that back line. And I think you have to look at Tottenham as well. Not just they've got issues defensively, but Hugo Lloris, how many mistakes has he made this season? The defence might be able to protect, to stop City to a certain point, but then Lloris will probably make a blunder anyway.
Well, what about the other end of the pitch then, Simon? I mean, let's not forget, Spurs did concede 4 goals on Wednesday night, and they have conceded away from home as well. As good as Alderweireld and Vertonghen are they going to be able to keep City at bay?
I think they are, but going back to Hugo Lloris, he only saved the penalty against Aguero in the first leg, which was a massive game changer there. So I think you're barking up the wrong tree with Hugo Lloris. He's a fine goalkeeper. I'd put him as at least the equal of Ederson, if not better than him. Going to the overall back four, I think the full-backs are better than Man City. I'll just say 2 words to you. Kyle Walker, what a great season he's having. But I think overall, the Spurs defence, very solid. They'll be able to play a bit deeper as well, so there'll be no space to play in behind either for those Man City creative players.
Well, it is very tough to call. I was almost tempted to sit on the fence, but I am just going to edge towards Manchester City. I think they'll be absolutely desperate to bounce back from Wednesday, and I think the changes they can make to the squad will make the big difference. So 2-1 for me in terms of City. Quick predictions, Bobbie?
I'll give Tottenham a goal, but I think 4-1 Manchester City.
And what about Spurs then?
2-1 Spurs.
Okay, that's the thoughts of Simon and Bobbie. What about you? It's the big game on Saturday. It's Manchester City against Tottenham.